The first picture taken underwater. The diver's name is Emily Rakowitz, 1899, Ghana. The only tornado caught through the lens in the entire 19th century. Oklahoma, 1898. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary Cuban cigar factory. Everyone is working at the edge of their powers, except for one man who is sitting on a table reading a newspaper. That's not the boss. Then who is he? When there was no radio and no gramophone records, the factories appointed a special man to read newspapers or books to the workers so that they would not go crazy from their long, monotonous work. Gerard O'Mell is one of the most famous climbers who has repeatedly climbed Everest as well as the other greatest mountain peaks. The veteran climber died after falling from a 2-meter ladder while changing a light bulb at home. Sir Nicholas Winton saved 669 children from death and told no one about it. This Englishman spent 50 years without a word about how, in 1939, he took 669 children, doomed to death, from German-occupied Czechoslovakia. His feat became known by chance. In 1988, his wife was looking for something in the attic of their house and found an old album with children's photographs, documents, and almost faded records. Had she not found it, the world would have never known about this amazing rescue operation. Marseille wave is a special method of hairstyling which appeared at the end of the 19th century, reached the peak of popularity at the beginning of the XXXth. One of the main masters of hairdressing in the 1880s was Marcel Gratteau, who invented ondulation, a new kind of styling waves later named after him, Marcel, and tongs, Marseille. In the Victorian era, having long hair was a sign of a woman's high status. After all, in those days, personal hygiene was a luxury, and to keep such hair clean, commoners simply could not afford. Girls from poorer strata, on the contrary, cut their hair short, as it could be sold at a high price. What became of the German prisoners after the war? Almost all of them ended up in concentration camps. In the American and British zone of occupation, they were forced to rebuild their own cities. They were forced to rake up rubble after the bombings, to build roads and houses in a totally destroyed Germany. In the Soviet zone of occupation, they were forced to do the same, but the lion's share of prisoners was sent to the Soviet Union, where they built ordinary houses. All Soviet cities that suffered from the bombing had entire neighborhoods of houses built by Germans, port workers on the Italian battleship Caio Duilio in the port of Genoa. Autochrome, 1910s. The shoes from the German company Puma were severely criticized, and the brand itself was accused of Nazi views by users of social networks. The fact is that people saw in the design of the sneaker a portrait of Adolf Hitler. Do you think it is justified? The Japanese have the custom of mata nozoki gusiki, watch between your legs. It is believed that by looking at the world in this way, one can also see ghosts and other worldly beings invisible in daylight. In this way, sailors tried to see ghost ships which they had no particular desire to meet. In 1938, Time magazine declared Adolf Hitler Man of the Year, who that year was given full command of the German army, announced that he intended to defeat Czechoslovakia, took control of Austria, threatening to attack it, and expelled 12,000 Jews from Germany.